Guess we'll just stay like this until people get in here. I like this. What's up? What's up? Hey, what's going on, man? I know a lot of you are just getting in here, right? Waiting on my people that are in my class to get in here. Oh wait, that's right. I can do the list, right? I can go to my subscription list and send out invites. Share. No, not like that. I gotta do this. Subscription. There we go. All right, let's see. All right, let's see. I gotta send these invites out, I guess. I told people to be here at 7 o'clock. So you know what? Just gonna have to get it started, I guess. All right, so let's see what today will be about frequency. All right, so frequency, right? Frequency and vibration. These are the two things that rule over everything. There's nothing that is outside of the bounds of the frequencies. Right? Frequency is what creates and generates the vision that you have in front of you. The way that it is interpreted is by selection. It's by what you've been taught, what you've been shown to see. That's why you can have two people that come from two different parts of the world that will see the same thing but see it differently. Right? You understand? So, let's get rid of this background real quick. And where's he at? Frequency. The thing that rules everything. The dog, some know as Anubis or some know as Anpu, is the tongue. The thing that creates frequency. Right? Now, your tongue dictates control. It's very important, the things that you allow to escape your mind. But even further, it's more what you allow to escape your mouth. You see, the things that you say to somebody change the world in their very existence. Right? Just by having a thought of something is able to generate a certain type of energy in the world. Right? Now, to enhance and enforce that, you would speak it into existence, because that is a heavier dose of energy and motion. It's more directed. It's more in tune. You understand? There's a reason that they have these words like in tune as far as when it's discussing correcting something, right? Why would that be? Because a tune is what? That is a note that is carried. That is a melody. That is a construction of sound. Everything that you do has a tune to it. Even your movement itself has its own tune, its own tone, its own frequency. As you move, you push other energies away. You move them around you, right? There's a magnetic pole within you that draws everything to you so that you have the ability to create what's in front of you. What's there and proven by science is the fact that things don't actually react until it has a witness. Right? They've tested this in several different ways. It's a very interesting thing you should probably look into. But the ions themselves interact when you are paying attention to them. And so this further proves and solidifies that it's your mind that is creating the reality around you at all times. So by understanding this, controlling the way that the mind works gives you the ability to shape the world in your image, literally. So, what is it that brings you to balance? Is a question that you should ask. How is it that we control our animosities and balance out our sensitivity to a point to where it evens out the way that the scales tip? Is the question that should be asked. Because what you say and what you do and what you think all create different realities in themselves. In your mind, you can see all of these things taking place, right? When you speak, the reality alters in the moment. When you move, the reality is altering in the moment, right? What you think is what dictates that. The word creates the vibration that creates the change, right? When you say something to somebody, does it not change their whole world? Can you not instantly say something that can turn somebody's world into flames? Right? Is there not a way that you can speak to somebody to put their flames out? Things to consider when it has to do with the word. All right. There's a lot of things that we underestimate in life, but the word would probably be the heaviest toll that you don't pay attention to. Right? And there's a certain way that you speak to others that can either tap into their heart, right? Or it can alter their mind. Either one, making it so that their very world in itself can be crumbled in just a few syllables. Right? And so the word is something that is very heavy, whether in tone or in the action that persists behind it. See, your action isn't necessary when it comes to word. You created it. Right? And so after you create it, it's the action or the reaction to it that you create that dictates whether or not the thing that you did was actually something that was going to balance you out, or was something that was soft and gentle, right? It could have been something that was heavy and vicious, or it could have been something that was light and gentle, right? Come on. Come on, buddy, because you can't be whining and stuff while I'm having a class. So, the word is one of the most powerful gifts that you've been given, right? With the word, you have the ability to create entire realities. If you doubt this, would you believe the things that you did right now had somebody not given you the word of what they believed to be how they were? Think about that. They gave you a definition. A deaf ignition. Right? They were defining your thought. They were deafening your tone and igniting a new reality by teaching you the things that they taught you the way that you were taught. You understand? It's not about the way that you were taught. It's about the things that you were given to define things that has altered the way that you look and react to things, right? Which has assured that your course would be steered in a different direction, right? By accepting these things as the reality, you have now formed a reality in itself. Things always react a certain way, and you react to them a specific way due to the way that you were taught to define things. That is a spell that you were put under. Why? Because that removed your ability to learn it for yourself and to teach yourself about it and to learn it the natural way through observation. Right? Observation will lead you to things that definitions will never, right? If you notice, the definitions of things seem to limit things into a certain box, right? And once you put something inside of a box, right, it loses everything that it used to be before you closed it off to that form. So although the idea of something can be spoken to you in a way that will give you a certain picture of it, realize that once you're given that picture, there's more for you to look at. Right? There's always a different depth that you could take it to. You understand? So, the frequency of the word is something that is greatly underestimated and has a lack of understanding because we weren't taught to pay heavy attention to these things due to what was taking place around the word in the first place. See, the frequencies that we create when we speak actually are supposed to be creating or sending that same energy throughout your nervous system. See, they always show you tuning forks, but they don't explain to you that your teeth themselves are tuning forks. Look at the way that they're shaped. Very small tip and a very large part. The large part receives the vibration. All of your teeth are, in fact, tied to your organs. You understand? So by the way that you speak, the things that you say, and the vibrations that you create, you can enhance and feed your organs simply by your words alone. Simply by doing the things that create the energies. The ohms, for instance, or the aumen, right? The aumen, when extended, creates a hum within the jawline, and that in turn starts feeding energy directly into your nerve roots. And those nerves then send that energy throughout your body. The more you do it, the more you will feel. You understand? So, the ways that we have been taught to speak have been altered heavily over time. We can go back just 40 to 60 years and find differences in the language. But when you take it back 100 years, you'll find that there is a lot that has changed. Then God Fred, it's supposed to be a rolling, Fred, let there be light, and there was light, right? And God Fa, light, that it was good. And God separated the light from the darkness. Separated. Not separated, separated. You can't say separated without almost automatically rolling the R. You see, there's things that were removed from the English language that are very much the things that create the tones and the frequencies that are necessary. The rolling of the letters creates a flux in the wave as it passes out of the mouth, right? That creates a beat. It gives it a different beat and a different tone. You'll notice that cultures that roll their letters harder seem to be happier people. Have you ever noticed that they just tend to be lighter in energy itself? They tend to have a lot more energy, right? Tend to be able to accomplish a lot more as far as physically demanding things. Where does that energy come from? It's the rolling of the letters. It's the creating of the frequency, the way that they speak to each other all the time, all day long. Most of their language requires you to roll letters in almost every other word. Why? Because of the frequencies that it's inducing. See, everything is built off of frequency and vibration. Don't think that the language is in itself. That's why they've removed all of this from the English language. If you notice, English is the only language that does not have a rolling letter in it. And it's not the English that they speak over in Britain. It's the English that they speak here in America that the world is being taught, right? That new English, you understand? It's that new English that's being taught that is it's dead. Anything that you say is dead. You feel almost no vibration in the words that you say. All right? Listen to this. Zachuo inuara. Se gramo maata za inuara. Right? Chuo. See how it's chuo. Se gramo. See how that just se gramo. Chuo se gramo inuara za maata za inuara. Right? You see how that made your phone vibrate? If you're holding your if you're holding your phone in your hand, you know that it vibrated a little bit. I know because I feel it when I speak these things. You understand? The The way that the words are structured themselves is structured in order. Do you hear the difference? I can try to lower my tone if I want to, but if you notice, it's still dead as out. Right? It still flattens it out. Right? Hey, welcome. All right, think about that for a minute. No matter what I'm saying right now, even if I try to lower my voice, you cannot enunciate this English in a way that creates a strong vibrating, like a strong creation of energy. There's a lot to this thing called the word that people underestimate heavily. And it needs to be addressed because your senses are affected by the lack of vibration that you've been creating. You see, there's a lot of factors to why people lived as long as they used to live. Right? First, there was the oxygen, which has been drastically cut, literally. Then there was the language that was
broken by a blunt spell.
Sorry. Sorry about that. Dog hit the controller. Hold on. There's the language that you speak, right? That's a lack of energy, right? That's been severed. Then there's the tones that we listen to. That has now been offset onto a tone that's disturbing to the body, right? Then there's the fact that everybody's clothed, right? Everybody's clothed and hidden away from the sun at the same time, right? That's another problem. You understand? There's a lot of things that are working against your natural tone, your unique verse, or the you and I verse that gets created when we come together, right? There's the unique verse, which is the universe, and then there's the you and I verse, which is the universe, right? There's multiple variations of the universe, right? But they're all created by the word. Why? Because the word is what brings you together. Right? The word is what brings you together, and the word is what keeps you apart. The fact that you don't say words to people is what keeps you separated from them. The more people you actually speak to, the more you can come together, right? But without it, it's frivolous. It's almost impossible to get somebody to do anything with you without speaking to them. The word is a magical fucking thing. That is so heavily underestimated, it's ridiculous. Thanks, Jerry, man. Right? So realize, it's the things that you say and the things that you don't say that change the reality that's around you. There's that energy that you bring into a conversation, or there's that energy that gets left out of that conversation by your reservation of your words. Why are you not sharing your words? What else were you giving them for if it was not to be in communication with others? Kind of defeats the purpose to keep it to yourself, right? How do we know and grow if we don't hear from each other? It makes it impossible. So there have been great lengths that have been gone to make there be a divide amongst the people, to make it so that nobody really wanted to speak to each other anymore. People don't trust each other anymore. Everybody looks at everybody funny these days. Your first assumption would be that somebody would attack you before you would accept that somebody was coming up to simply speak to you, because you've been trained to think that way, right? You have more of an expectation of being attacked than somebody coming to do something nice for you. Why? Because things have been trained that way. Do you understand? You need to change the way that you think, the way that you speak, And you'll find that your actions won't be necessary to break those two things as long as you put those two things together in a productive way. So, what you say, right? It's not just what you say, it's your intent behind it. You see, your words carry energy, right? And that energy comes from the intention behind the words. So even when you're doing something that's sneaky to somebody, there's still an energy with that. And if you ever notice, when somebody does something sneaky to you, you feel it in the way that when they say it to you. You can recognize it. It becomes apparent to you whether they say anything or not. Why? Because they just gave you that word with that energy behind it. That's why you can tell when somebody lies. If you pay attention to energies, if you're used to it and accept it and make it a normal practice for yourself. You have to program yourself to start to see these things to be able to accept them so that you can acknowledge when things are being done to you. You'd be amazed how much you can tell somebody's true intent by what they don't say. Just by the energy that they put into what they do say. You get me? So remember, when you're speaking to people, that it's not that difficult for people to tell what your intentions are behind the things that you do. It's not hard for people to see what it is that you're actually trying to do by the things that you do and don't say. I always tell, I always tell my exes, they'd be like, how do you know what's going on? I'd be like, yo, it's what you don't say, right? It's what you don't say that tells the most. It's always what people don't say that tells the most. All you have to do is pay attention to them long enough to listen to the way that they speak to know what the things that they're saying, if they're true or not. The people are creatures of habit. You can learn this off of somebody in moments. I can learn a lot of I will know more about what's wrong with you when I first meet you than I should. And that's because of the energy that you put off. Right? And the things that you focus on always tell and always are the opposite of the things that you're trying to get away from. Right? What you don't say tells a lot. You get me? So don't underestimate the ability to read what somebody says. Okay? It's not always about listening to how they say things. Sometimes you just got to really read into them. So, the growth of language, right? Language has been something that has been altering over time for a very good amount of time, right? And the thing is that with each new language comes a new reality, comes a new world. This is the new world order. Each language was a reset. That's why it was necessary to have new languages. And the languages got created out of other languages. Every language has been one that's been passed on from the other. So essentially, they're all still the same language. Just in different pitches and tones. That's why everybody has the same pictures painted with them. It's the same language everywhere you go. Right? So the funny thing about that is, as usual, everything goes back to what? The hieroglyphs. Right? Hieroglyphs. If you notice, these letters that are being used now are fairly new in comparison. Right? If you notice, almost all other, right? This is where we're at right here. This is the language that everybody speaks now, right? This is the regular English right here, okay? It's a form of Roman. We keep telling you that everybody's under Roman rule, but nobody listens, right? Anglo-Roman is what you call English now. Okay? But if we look, besides Anglo-Roman and Greek, right? But even Greek was mostly hieroglyph. Anglo-Roman is the newest form of language out of everything. And if you notice, it's separated from everything else. You notice that? Why? If you were still learning hieroglyphs and things, right? If you were, because look, every other language is purely hieroglyphs. People like to say that they aren't, but they are. There's no letters in most of these languages. There's things that resemble them, right? They resemble letters. But these are hieroglyphs. These are all hieroglyphs. All of them. They're all pretty much based off body parts too. Except for these. These right here were a whole existence in themselves. Right? The Sumerians, right? We're going to dig into this one eventually. I'm going to have to. But I don't like the way that they explain it. And no, I don't go for that. Look for the stuff in between shit that doesn't, I'm sorry, but no. That doesn't say anything. That's wrong. Yeah, it's a good try though. But dog, it's all hieroglyphs. Everything's hieroglyphs up until now. All these different civilizations, right? Every single last one of these civilizations, the only one that has actual letters that you would call letters is English. Or Roman, sorry. Right? Everything else, even Greek. Even Greek is mainly hieroglyph. Right? You see, this was the new world. Right? This was the new world that was separated from everything else. There was nothing even remotely close to it. It was a complete rewrite. Now you understand why you have such a hard time tapping into the information that you have from before you. It's all in these languages. Had you have been taught like hieroglyphs or fucking heretic or, even Hebrew still gets you in there. You understand? That was before letters, right? But if you'd have learned any of the rest of these, you would have been able to understand the hieroglyphs themselves. And if you would have understood the hieroglyphs, then you wouldn't have been able to, you wouldn't be indoctrinated into the things that you are now, because you'd be able to understand the shit from before. So, by creating this new, this entirely new language, right? This entirely new language that they tell people, oh, it's structured to the number 9, and it's the God language, and it's got the God frequencies, and da-da-da. No, they're lying to you. It's the opposite of that. It's flat. It's completely flat. You can't use this language to levitate stuff. You can't use this language to strengthen to build your own energies. You can't, this language, you can't do none of that with this. It's a dead flat language. It's horrendous, to be honest, when you think about the fact that it's the only one that's like this. It's an atrocity. They've used every bit of frequency hindrance that they possibly could. You get me? The attack on the language itself removes so much energy from the body that it's ridiculous. Why do you think people are so drained in America? Especially people, why do you think, right? It requires a large amount of energy to be able to have a long conversation. Why do you think people get drained? You're not supposed to be drained when you have a conversation with somebody. You're supposed to be rejuvenated. That's almost impossible to do with this language because it's created in order to create dead tones. It's created for it to have you don't give people energy with this language. There's no exchange of it. If anything, this language is even sharp. It's sharp against your ears. Think about it. People can pierce your fucking eardrums with this language, but they can't give you energy with it. Right? A lot of it has words like this. You hear that static that's being created at the end of this? Think about that for a minute. You're creating static with almost all the words that you speak. You're creating static. You're not creating a nice flow of energy. You can feel that static. You feel it almost tingle in your eardrum if you pay attention to your energies and shit. Like just like start being mindful of it, right? Start being aware of it, and you'll start to notice that when you're speaking this language, you can feel it in your eardrum. Like notice how when you do "oh man," right? Or you get what I'm saying? The ohms, ram nam nam. It's the aum. It's that part that makes them go. It's the auman, the auman, auman. See, when you say that, you'll feel a pressure build up inside of your head. But then speak normal afterwards for a couple of seconds, and you'll realize that the ways that you speak with all the S's that are in the language, every time you say that S, you'll feel it pierce your ear. It's the opposite feeling of that. Think about that. Your words themselves are attacking you. Try it. Try it for yourself. I'll give you a second. See if you can feel the difference. Almost everything that you say in this language, you feel in the base of your ear. That's because of the pitch that it creates. It's a draining language. So don't let your kids get their wisdom teeth pulled. I know it's going to suck for them to keep them, but understand that those are the ones that deal with your pineal gland. And you want them to be able to fuel their pineal gland. If anything, I would recommend that you teach them a certain language. Or not a certain, but a second language, right? And have them speak in that as much as possible. Doesn't matter what it is. Every other language is created for positive frequencies. All of them are. That's why they're think about it, right? In Russia, they have a strong language, right? The people of Russia are generally strong. In China, they have a very sharp language, sharp and fast, right? What are the people over there? Sharp and fast. In Mexico, they have a very strong language, right? It's very robust. What do you have in Mexico? A bunch of robust people. Out here in America, we have a dead, flat, fucking... What do you see around here? Mostly people that are overweight. People that are overweight, out of shape, and lazy. Why? Because the frequency resonates the body. So when you're not putting out positive tones into the body, it's not growing. It grows the way that you speak. Right? It's not that... I want you to think about this for a second. The people that turn out to be like giant type people, right? They had those deep voices before they got bigger. Right? As their voice progressed deeper and heavier, and they got what? Deeper and heavier and larger. You grow out of the sounds. Think about that. Your entire makeup is of energy. If you're saying things that are increasing your energy, you're going to what? Increase the body. If you're saying things that are going to decrease the body, that decrease energy, you're going to what? Decrease the body. You're not fueling the body. A lot of you would have a lot more energy in you if you practiced those mudras, as they call them, right? The ram, lam, yam, lam, right? All these different things. Why? Because they're made to generate energy. You don't even have to do that. All you have to do is hum at different pitches. Look. You see, you just find the one that actually feels like energy to you. You're a different frequency. Everybody's not going to have the same pitch create energy with them. Now, everybody does have certain pitches. Like, okay, right, perfect example of this, right? Why do you think, okay, I'm one of those people that their hair stands up when they hear certain pitches in music and stuff like that. I can absorb energy out of straight music to the point to where it'll have me almost in tears and shit like that. Like, I get a lot of energy out of music, depending on what I listen to, right? So I seek out those songs where people sing and hit those high notes, because that is strong, vibrant energy that I can feel throughout my whole entire body. You understand? Now, everybody can't feel that energy. You get me? Everybody can't feel that energy. Why? Because everybody's got their own pitch, right? Your tone and the typical tone and frequency, or the vibration of the body, is varied. It varies per people. Per person, I should say, right? Each person has their individual synchronization, right? It's a combination of the mother and the father's, right? That's why when the mother and the father pass, they receive a large amount of energy, right? That's why if the child passes, the parent receives a large amount of energy. They have overflow of emotions for a long time, and it takes a while to get that under control, because you're not taught that's that. You're just taught that you're thinking about them and things like that. Well, that's because you're on a wavelength with them. That's why you can feel it when they passed. That's why you will feel it. That's why you understand? You are a part of their frequency. That's what separates you from other shit. You're a combination of those two frequencies, right? If everybody everybody's trying to get you to look at the body like everybody has the same frequencies. That's false. Everybody can't have the same frequencies. If everybody had the same frequency, everybody would look the same. You understand? People say that they understand frequency and vibration and shit like that, but you're not taking into account proof of this. Let me give you perfect proof of this. When you see couples that have been together for an exponential amount of time, you'll notice that they start to look like each other. That's because that's what happens when people's energies start to match up. That's what that is. That's a physical showing of it. Same thing as people's pets. Right? You see it around there. You see their pets all the time. Pets show it even faster because they have a shorter lifespan, right? And so they reflect it more quickly. You can see it quicker in a pet because they spend and share all that energy with you. Right? So understand that if everybody was on the same frequency and everybody could be on the same frequency, everybody would look the fucking same. Everybody would be built the same. Everything would be exactly the same. There would be no separation. It would just be we'd be right back to that whole oneness that we're separated in this to get away from in the first place. That would defeat the whole entire purpose of everything. Hey, what's up, man? Welcome. Welcome. All right. So understand that once again, the word is a very powerful thing, right? It's the thing that has no condition behind it, that will always be there for you to use and utilize and actually create and resonate things. And if you can start to learn to dive into other languages besides English and make it so that you actually can speak things that create tones and that are built off of different vibrations, you'll notice that there's a change in the very way that you think itself, the very way that you see the world. If you notice, people that know multiple languages tend to be more peaceful overall. It's people that only know one language that tend to be more combative. Why? Why would that be? Because that's a segregation tool in itself. Right? You're not like me, so why should I trust you? It's a whole mindset that comes with that. You get it? So, remember, it comes down to that energy that you create. Through the things that you say, the intent of your heart, and that very vibration itself alters and changes not only the outer world, but the inner world as well. Right? You can alter your whole entire body just by learning to do different frequencies and things. The further we get into these studies of frequencies and vibrations, the more we're going to be learning. See, everybody keeps looking for external things to heal you and things like that. But you have a unique voice box that has the ability to mimic anything that it hears. Which means that if we can learn the tones that are necessary in order to heal the body, if we can figure those out again, those can be built through your voice. Through practice. There's a lot to words, right? It's not just the emotions that get created off of them. It's the physical that you can build off of them as well. Right? So how you apply them really alters the way that the reality around you is created. So you should be very mindful. Be very mindful of what you say, because what you say indeed can, alter your temple. Right? Make it so that you get to a point to where you can be full of darkness or you can be full of light, depending on the way that you think. Right? Everybody worries about their actions. No, you should be worried about what you're thinking in the first place. What part of you are you allowing to give you those negative thoughts? And why are you not correcting it when it happens? Right? That's where you get got. Your thoughts, because you know that your thoughts are not your own, right? So you're not supposed to relinquish yourself to your thoughts. You're supposed to control your thoughts. You're supposed to correct your body and your mind. You're supposed to let it know, hey, look, no, that's not how I like to, that's not how we're doing this. That's not how this operates. Find the positive thing and then get back to me. Your mind gives you options, and instead of you commanding it, you're accepting the options. You have the ability to command your mind to be the way that you want it to be. You can force it to focus in any direction, but right now you've just been letting it run amok because nobody really told you how much you can control it. Right? Nobody gave you the indication of the fact that voice that's inside of your head is something that you tell what to do, not something that you get commands from. You tell it to reflect things the way that you want it to until it reflects things the way that you want it to without you having to tell it. You don't accept the options that it gives you. You give it other options. You have to program your mind. Hey, what up, Jerry? You understand? You have to take control of your thoughts and your mind. If you don't control your thoughts and your mind, that's going to destroy you. It's going to eat you from the inside out. Right? Right? Those evil thoughts. Right? You have to control that. That thing that's in your head doesn't understand this. It doesn't care about this. It's only there based off of your wants and wills and intentions. It reads you. You understand? So you have to program that. Because if you let it run amok, it's going to pollute you. Right? Because those thoughts, right? Those thoughts are going straight through your waters. That's what's really getting to you, is the thoughts. They're passing through your waters constantly. That's how the records are getting kept. It's the train of thought. See the train? See the train tracks? You see them train tracks, right? Right? That train for your thoughts, right? That train of thoughts. Yeah. As they leave out of your mind, right? It changes the structure of the water. You get me? So you need to get that under control, not just accept it when it gives you thoughts. Right? Remember, like there's times when you will correct your thoughts, and then there's times when your thoughts will say something and you'll just roll with it. Yeah, that's right, let's go. No, you're not supposed to do that, ever. You don't listen to that. That's simply an evaluation or an observation. That's not something that you want to trust. It doesn't care about the rest of things. It only cares about your entertainment. Right? The thing that worries about your entertainment doesn't worry about your body. You get me? The brain's there for your entertainment. The heart is what leads you through things. Right? The brain's there for your entertainment. Right? So you have to get that under control, because too much of a good thing is always too much of a good. They call it too much of a good thing for a reason. You get me? And so when you allow your mind to run rampant with those negative thoughts and those fucking, you're allowing it to destroy you. It's destroying your body without your consent. Like you're just allowing it to rip you to pieces from the inside out. Right? So remember that when you start to get into a rut of being aggravated by somebody or being pissed off about something or thinking of something in a negative way, remember the fact that in that moment, you're actually polluting your waters, literally shaving time off of your life. Is it worth it to be mad at somebody over something that's literally going to kill you? It literally it literally kills you to be mad at people. Is it really worth it to be mad at people? Really? People do people shit. I don't not expect anybody to do it. There's nothing I put beyond somebody's capabilities. I suspect that everybody's capable of horrendous things. Yeah, you understand? Under the right circumstance, everybody's capable of something horrendous. There might be different circumstances. Circumstances are what? Circumstantial, right? It depends on the person. But at the same time, I don't underestimate people. You shouldn't either. Right? Don't underestimate people. Don't hold them higher than who they are. If you don't, there's nothing that they'll do that can ever disappoint you. Expect people to be who they show you they are. Accept them for that. Sometimes we have a hard time with that. Oh, you see the potential in somebody. You want them to be better. Nope, you failed already. You failed already. Don't even do that to yourself. You failed right there. Leave them alone. Leave them alone. Right? Don't get yourself into some shit that you don't belong in. Okay? So, always remember that at the end of things, right? The most peace that you're going to have, right? The most peace that you're going to have will come from the wisdom that you gain, right? You gain wisdom by experiencing and accepting the truth. Once you experience and accept the truth, then you can love things more. And the more that you learn to love things, the longer you're going to survive. Right? So remember, it's not a race. You're not in a competition with anybody. You're not here to be better than anybody. You're not here to do more than anybody. You're just here to be you. Be true to yourself. Make wise decisions. Be as peaceful as you can until proven otherwise. And love the fact that you still get to be here every day. Because there's no reason that you shouldn't. Because you still have the opportunity to change the world around you. I love you. Thank you for attending class. I hope that you guys enjoyed this one and that you learned a little bit. To the people that are subscribed that are in here, is there anything about the class that you would like to talk about before we hit the road? Well, every situation has a potential to it, truth. Just existing is purely potential. There's a billion things that you can do at any time. You always have the opportunity to do anything. You're limited by what you accept, right? By what you choose to be the limits of your own reality. That's the extent of what you're capable of doing, right? So if you find that there's something more that you want for yourself, you have to know that you want it because you already have it, which means that you're on your way to getting it before you even thought that you wanted it in the first place. And if you can learn to view things in that manner, you'll persist in the things that you actually want to get to. You get me? It's always good to see the potential, right? It's always good to see the potential, but that just because you see the potential doesn't mean somebody has to get to it. Just remember that. And just remember, right? The potential that you see in somebody else is only the acknowledgement of where you would be if you had took that same route. So try not to project who you would be in their shoes onto them and allow them to be who they are. You get me? So that, my friends, we'll wrap it up. Thank you guys for your time. I will be back later on this evening with a regular live. And to those in the class, I will see you in next week's class. Have a good one.